Well, here we are on a rather hazy Monday morning. And we're all set up here. I got my plastic down, I got the spray booth pulled over. I plugged in the air hose about half an hour ago. We're pretty much ready to go here. Just got to get our 77 shaken up. I just realized I didn't shake it up yet. Might have to add a little bit of thinner to it yet, I'm not sure. Now, so what's with the Cat 5e wire out here? Well, last night I did come back to the model table, but all I did for about 15 minutes, to my surprise, was fiddle around with this, trying to split this open to see, what happened here with the staple that went through. So if you are not interested in this sort of thing, or seeing what I did here, what I would advise you do is skip ahead approximately 15 minutes, and then we'll get into the spraying. Otherwise, sit back for the next 15 minutes and be bored to death. I was going to say enjoy, but actually bored to death is more truthful. Anyway, let's turn the clock back to last night and get that over with, and then we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes. So I'm setting myself up here for spraying tomorrow morning, because tomorrow morning I may not have the same exuberance to spray as I do right now, and I will use any excuse not to do it. I will say to myself, oh, I got to drag the spray booth over here and put the plastic down, and it's too much work. I think I'll just paint these little things by hand. And that's the way it usually goes with me. Anyway, I got all set up here, and I'm looking at my cable here, the ones that accidentally got punctured through the cable. I'm noticing that there's actually another spot about it up here. Okay, so here's what's happened. I was sitting in front of my computer about 2 hours ago thinking about this cable. And I was thinking, this cable has been around for a long time, because I remember, well, first of all, I've been retired for many, many years. And I can remember seeing this being used at work. Somebody was hooking up a computer system, and he was running this wire all over the place. And I can't remember how I ended up with it, but I remember remarking about this cable, and he was talking about it, and he gave me a length of it, which I brought home, which I still have in the workshop to this day. So I do remember seeing this cable a long time ago, and I got curious, how long have we had this cable in existence? And so I says, hey, Cortana, and nothing happened. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I've disabled Cortana. I got tired of her making a nuisance of herself. She was just interrupting for any old reason at all, trying to be helpful, of course, but making a nuisance of herself. And when I would ask her something, a lot of times she'd say, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm learning, or something like that. So anyway, I brought up Google and clicked on the microphone and talked to that. And what is the history of Cat 5e communication cable? Well, up comes a whole bunch of stuff right away. And it turns out that this stuff has been used since the end of the last century. In other words, about at least 22 years ago. So this cable is nothing new. But anyway, let's turn around here and put on a normal lens. And another thing, this thing here, I was looking at it, and they've made it wrong. And I can't believe that they didn't catch this. I know why it is that this thing, unless the cable is exactly right in here, it will accidentally puncture through the side. It's not designed right. And yet this was designed specifically for this kind of cable. Anyway, I'll show you after what they should have done. It could be that there's another manufacturer has made one of these things, and they did get it right. I don't know. Anyway, this is the one I bought because it had got really good ratings, and people said it was really good and all the rest of it. But it's not made right. And like I say, I'll show you after what's wrong with it, and I'll show you the type of staples it uses. The staples are a beautiful design. They are just loaded wrong in this gun. But anyway, you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about a model ship, right? Let's swing the camera around here and just sort of split this open here and see what kind of damage did we do here. Now, I hope my voice holds out here. It's 8:37 in the evening right now. Our little boo-boo is right here, the main one. I just want to show you the way I've got it set up, and this is the end that would have gone into the camera. Now, I do have another plan. I don't care if I can fix this or not. In fact, I probably won't bother. I'm just going to open it up so we can just see what happened when the staple went through where it wasn't supposed to. Okay, I'll move you in now. Now, usually I do not take the jacket off of something like this using a hobby knife, because it risks digging in and cutting the little cords that are in there, or the little lines that are in there. If I go nice and slow like this, I think we might be able to get it. Okay, now on the inside there, I'm assuming there is sort of like what you would call a rip cord. It's sort of like dental floss. And the idea is if you can get a hold of that cord, you can then did I ever say I can't work and talk at the same time? Okay. Now, normally what I would do is I would score all around the outside, and then you could sort of break it open that way, but that only really works good if you're removing, if you've got a short piece, and you're, well, I don't need to explain it to you, for goodness sakes. Suppose I could try and go like this. Okay. All right, I can see here. Maybe I should stick the macro lens on, because this is what I wanted to see. I just wanted to see what damage did that stapler do. Okay, maybe what I could do now is I'll try and go underneath everything and just cut it off like this. Yeah, we practically got it, don't we? I know you can't see it because it's on my side of the cable, but it's just about a millimeter there. All right. Now where's that ripcord? Well, that almost looks like a bare copper wire, but I don't think so. I think it's a coated wire. Yeah, I think this is coated. This one that looks like it's copper. It's just brown. then you have your different colors. The white with green, solid green, white with brown. Anyway, we don't need to get into that. We were going to try and see what damage was caused here. Now, my son and I did test this out, and it didn't work. All right, here we go. Here we go. Did I say I was going to put the macro lens on? Well, then I better do it, right? Okay, I think maybe this is the time for Mr. T's poking device and the holder downer. Now we've got this one right here. It could be that I've got this thing stretched out too tight, but you can see here, at least I can see it, what appears to be, well, it is still making connection. I think it is. I don't think it broke the connection here, so that one's okay. The green one's okay. Okay, they seem to be all right here. I know it looks pretty bad, but it isn't. Yeah, as near as I can tell, this is all. There's continuity there from here to here. Now the green one, there's nothing wrong with it. And none of the others in this area seem to be damaged. So that must mean that just let me check here. Why can't I twist that? I don't want to bend the holder downer. Is it possible that the only thing holding this together is the plastic jacket on the white and green? Because the solid green is okay. You know what? I'm making a mountain. Oh no, it's not. Look. There's the problem. It actually did get cut. Okay, so the only thing that made me think that it was holding it together was the fact that this jacket is all together. You know what? I'm just going to take my knife here, and oh, I know what I could use. Okay, it took me a minute to find it. I could just cut it with this. There we go. These wires are really stiff when you actually try to use them with something, you know, like the holder downer, even though they are very small wires. Now, am I a complete klutz or just half a klutz? There we go. Now I know what you're saying, you're thinking, yeah, I'm looking for any excuse not to have to airbrush. But you got to remember, right now it's still evening. Okay, so we found the problem. This wire here got cut by the staple. Let me get one. Okay, if I put the staple in place here, put everything in perspective, and maybe I can show you what happens here. Okay. Yeah, so this thing here just acted like a chisel, and just cut it right off. Okay, I think we've beat this to death. Yeah, the ends of this are really sharp, and they're just chiseled right through. I'm not even going to try and solder these together, because what's happening is I'm getting a crimper that comes with about 100 of these connectors, and also it comes with a tester, and it's Amazon's choice, so it must be good, right? And it was like $25 or something like that. $25, I think, is all it was. It's kind of scary, actually. I wonder if it's any good. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the second. Oh, here it is up here. Here's the second boo-boo, and I'm just going to cut it off, put a new connector on. Now, the plan is that these cables are 100 feet long. In most cases, we just needed 30, 40 feet to run from the camera. Well, no, a couple of them would be longer than that. But we didn't need that much cable. So my thinking now is what I'm going to do is just take only the amount of cable I need, cut it off, and put on a new connector, and then plug it into the back of the recorder. And as far as this thing goes, well, I wasted enough time here. We'll look at the problem with this in another episode. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow. No, don't go clicking the stop button. This episode is not over yet. Okay, for those of you who stuck with me for the last 15 minutes, you're a braver person than me. What I'm trying to do here is get it so that when this thing rotates, it's going to be more or less centered. I just have to be careful not to bump this now when I'm picking it up. Otherwise, I've just wasted a bunch of time here. There's not too much I can do about where it's fastened at the base, but I can adjust the top back and forth just by, moving it in the blue tack and what have you. That's going to be some better. It'll be better than if I hadn't have done this. Let's put it that way. This one's not going too good. All right, I guess you get the idea. Okay, we're all shook up in the paint shaker. And I don't think I'm going to need the toothbrush. I haven't had to use it yet since I started using this 0.5 nozzle, I was going to say lens, 0.5 millimeter nozzle. And what I'm going to try to do here, reason I'm doing all this talking now is because sometimes it's pretty hard to talk over top of the noise of the air cleaner. But I've got my airbrush adjusted for, it looks like about 13 pounds. So it's a little bit less than the last time we used it. And now I'm thinking that there is the possibility here that I may find that it is easier to just not have it auto rotating and just do it by hand, and just go down and then turn a little bit and go down. That might be a little bit more economical. An airbrush is a horrendous waste of paint for something small like this. Now, if you're doing the hull of your ship, you might only lose maybe 20% of it. But something like this, you're probably losing 99% of it. Most of it's going past the whatever. So even though it does a really nice job, it's quite a waste. So like I say, I'm going to just check it out and see which works the best. Yeah, I'll just readjust here and let's get at it. Now when I was pouring the paint into the reservoir of the airbrush, I was noticing it was a little thicker than I thought. I should have thinned it out some more, and I was wondering, is 12 pounds pressure or whatever I'd lowered it to going to work? Well, as it turns out, it didn't want to spray that paint. I had to increase it back up. I must have been probably pretty close to about 20 pounds again. I didn't pay a lot of attention to what I turned it up to. I just turned it up until it worked. But I believe it probably was back up to about 20 pounds to, where it was. Okay, we'll clean everything up and then we'll have a nice close look. Okay, it went pretty good. But there's something I gotta tell you. With this 0.5 millimeter nozzle, you go through the paint really fast. I would say twice as fast, if not more, than with the 0.3. Now you saw how much paint I poured in there at the beginning, and I would say I used up about 80% of it. And probably of that 80%, 1% went on the part. The rest went through the filter. Anyway, we're all cleaned up here. But you know what? I was probably 80% through cleaning up, like I'd done the back flushing and everything, and I was in the process of taking the nozzle off, and I'd done most of the work actually. And then I remembered a comment that I got earlier this morning, and it went like this. Now, you're going to be wanting to paint these little pulleys that are on here, the number 77. So if you're going to want to do that, why don't you paint these rings now? And I forgot. And I was thinking about it before I even started here. I should have put them out where I would see them, but I didn't. I thought, oh, I'll remember. Yeah, right. Anyway, so to that viewer, I apologize. I didn't use your idea, but I sure thought about it a lot. So I guess what I'm going to do now is I'll probably just go ahead and paint these rings the black, and then we'll bend those tabs down that represent the pulleys, and then I'll paint them with a little brush later, the number 77 or whatever color I decide I'm going to use. Yeah. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this before or not. Maybe some of you have picked up on that, but I use the ultrasonic cleaner now pretty much every time to clean out these 4 small pieces. And it seems to work really good. I am not seeing any type of pitting or anything like that on the chrome plating on these little parts, and I think that would be the first thing that would be noticeable. Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. As far as I'm concerned, the ultrasonic cleaner, at least when used occasionally like I do, as you know, I don't use the airbrush every day, but yeah, it doesn't seem to do any harm at all to these parts. So I just wanted to mention that. I don't use it on anything else though. Like I don't put this part down in it. This part I soak in a jar of number 77 or 70% rather isopropyl, and that seems to work really good. And then I blow it out with compressed air from the back first. Then I'll come up through the where you hook on the air and try and get that channel out, and I'll blow this out, and then maybe I'll rinse it again, and it's been getting pretty good. I do notice though that I do notice though that on the inside, I don't know if it was like that when it was new, but I can sort of see the brass. It's as though the chrome plating is staying really well on the outside, but it's coming off on the inside. But it could be that it's always been that way, and I just never really noticed it. So, but I'm very happy with this Iwata airbrush. So anybody that wants to know, it's working absolutely fantastic now with this 0.5 millimeter nozzle. But as I mentioned earlier, be prepared to go through a lot of paint. Well, let me tell you, there's a big difference in the weather in the last couple of hours here. We had a storm move in. We got thunder and lightning and rain and everything else moving in. But we need the rain. Don't know about the lightning, but we sure do need the rain. Now, it seems to me that quite a while ago, I said we'll take a nice close look after we're through spraying. And it's probably about, I'm guessing, an hour and a half or so now since we sprayed these parts, and I would think that they are probably about as dry looking as they're going to get. Yeah, I'm not seeing, like in the little openings here, right in there, that I can't see any paint that looks like it's kind of wet or anything like that. So let's get our little rotator set up here and stick them on. And we don't need to look at them all, but because we've used up quite a bit of footage today, what with fooling around with that communication cable. Yeah, let's just do that, and then we're going to call it quits for today. Even though it's only, what, 12:30 roughly? Okay, let's move in. Now the rest of these are probably going to look pretty much alike. Maybe what I'll do is I'll move in a little bit on this right up here. And as I was saying, the rest are going to look pretty much like that. Okay, now I think in tomorrow's episode we'll paint these probably black now. Kind of hard to pick up. Better be careful. I'm kind of bending one of our little pulleys. I better just leave well enough alone here. We'll worry about that in tomorrow's episode. And we'll be painting those the NATO black. Yeah, I think that's it for today, folks. What was I going to mention here? Oh yeah, well, we'll talk about tomorrow. It was something that Kevin had mentioned. But we're really running out of time here. I mean, this video is over half an hour long already. Now, I know we've had longer ones before, but I like to try and keep them down around 20 minutes if I can, or maybe even less. Anyway, did you hear the thunder? Okay, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.